Hello everyone, GeneralApple here with what appears to be the final part of the house in Fata Morgana. Which, wow, what a journey this was. Holy, this game has been incredible thus far. Last episode we had the most insane twists imaginable, nothing I could ever anticipated. And overall, the game is just fantastic. So, kinda sad to see it goes away. Because if this is the game end, how the game end, and where the game ends, yeah, has been one of the best games I've played in recent times. I'm so surprised I actually just found out about this game very recently, and it is so good. It is so good. It's not the oldest game, I believe it's from 2016, but still, it's definitely not a new game. And yeah, I've been sitting on this game for quite some time before actually starting to play it. And I'm so glad I finally did, because it was such an incredible journey. And yeah, let's just continue where we left off. Here we go. Pain awaits. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michael wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me, but there was a little point in asking when he seemed to think there was a little point in talking to me at all. Although at first I had been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me, the more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it will only work for so long. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but a room with a stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the windows, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. What was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pews seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why it would be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. It's very well made chapel, at any rate. I doubted Michael had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him. And he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world, or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers. Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other option. Don't you worry. It'll all work out. Promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent noble house, way out of reach of some small-time merchant like us. You never know, this could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't you look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back onto our feet. Oh, for goodness sake, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to mom for me. I'll probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm going to make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? Hmm. How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See? How about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then, my sister fell in love with a moderately well off aristocrat. My mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry, but their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Boilinger estate approached me. He said that they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Boilinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer. So I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. I just pray that nothing bad happens to my sister and that mom is getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. Their nobility, they have plenty of money, enough to spare some. Ah, the light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high that no, my prayers would not be answered. The bluish white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a solid woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake, I never asked to end up like this. Okay, we're going to Michael perspective. She's lovely, by the way. I don't think she's solid. Their nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Oh, she said that out loud? Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a solid woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Giselle was sitting at one of the pews in the room with a stained glass window. Just looking at her, you might have thought she was offering a prayer, but the words coming from her mouth were anything but prayerful. They were filled with resentment. They have plenty of money. A solid woman. And then, I never asked to end up like this. So this is what's beneath her that facade. Most likely money what she's after. All I need to do now is confirm my suspicion with them. Just what awful secrets will I uncover? I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew with her head drooped, a cursory glance before leaving the chapel. I had somewhere else to be. The bitterly cold outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I'd stepped beyond the mansion walls. A thick mist canopied in the night sky, blocking out the moonlight. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving the house. It had been 10 years since I'd seen the mansion from the outside, and it hadn't changed one bit. A gloomy scar upon the earth, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically approach. Nevertheless, it was better than that house. Yes? Who is it? Michael. What? Michael Boilinger? What? Just a moment. I'll be right there. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. Who is visiting? Wow, I must say, this is rather unexpected. Just one word and I would have been up there in a heartbeat. And how was I supposed to do that? I am regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons. Uh, right, yes. My apologies. This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Boilinger family. His job? To watch over me. That said, we never actually interacted. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive and whether I remained in the mansion. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about me. Well then, what can I do for you? The manservant was visibly rattled. Afraid, too. But not because of the difference in our social ranks. I had a pretty good idea what he had been told about me. He was afraid of me. Or more specifically, my curse. People fear that which they cannot comprehend. Not just children, adults as well. They fear demons, witches, and curses, anything impure or not of this world. But I had long since gotten used to being viewed as such. It didn't sadden me, it didn't disappoint me, it didn't pain me. Some things were too foolish to concern yourself over. Though it certainly doesn't make me feel good either. I was, on some level, annoyed. That woman appearance at the mansion had created ripples in my once tranquil life. So before I got into real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head, there's no need to be afraid. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. Ah, how rude of me. You're right, my sincerest apologies. Your job is to keep watch over me. If the mere sight of me has you trembling, what will you do if I try to run? I would have a little trouble escaping. That would be quite unfortunate. What would I ever tell your mother? I'm not sure that would end well at all. You could lose everything you have been paid so far. In fact, you might be lucky to get out with your life. So, surely your mother would not. You are aware of who you're dealing with, right? Michael, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to take your life. You wouldn't even make it back to report anything. Have mercy, Lord Michael. Please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. Only joking. I don't have the power to kill by way of curse. And the man fell silent, but the look on his face said, You are cursed though, aren't you? Once someone get an idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible to get rid of it. I am so cursed that anyone can see it. That I need to be locked away in a dark mansion. I'm here because I had a question for you. Not to warn you that I plan to run away. A question? For me? Yes. Approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came to the mansion. Tell me, what do you know about her? I was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else. I believe you. I never thought they would tell you anything. Right. He had been hired to observe me, but that's all he was, a hired hand. He wouldn't be privy to the Bollinger family internal affair. Take this. A letter. I need you to deliver this to my mother. You could have just left it in a box from this month's package and I would have collected it when I dropped off the next one. I'm in urgent need of information. Will you do this for me? Yes. Why, yes. Absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning. Much appreciated. Good night. You too. Do take care. Okay, that went quite smoothly. Lord Michael. Yes. Is it true that you don't have... Would you like me to sew your mouth shut so you can never open it again? Not all. My sincere apologies, Lord Michael. That was horribly disrespectful. Good night. Ah, cursed, I most certainly am. That's interesting. It's true you don't have. It's true you don't have. That is interesting. What doesn't... What is he missing? He's lacking something. That's an interesting distinction to make. My mother's response arrived just 10 days later. The delivery boy must have pushed his horse quite hard. It was almost exactly a month after Giselle had moved in. So his mother still responded to him. And shortly thereafter, on a bone-chilling night, everything came crashing down. The rift between us grew deeper, and the wall between us impossibly high. When I lay bare the scars in her chest, and mercilessly plunged my knife into them. Whoa. Oh my god, I really hope he means metaphorically. How did we get to this point? Ah, I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into a deep morass. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I had been optimistic at first. I'd even had a little hope that me and Michael could get along together. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered, and the cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air, like my very presence in the world was a crime. I never could have imagined just how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself, despising the world, convinced there was no one who could set me free. I considered running away from everything rather than live like this another day, but I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. If they found out I had fled, that I had acted outside their wishes, my mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married and my mom to live comfortably. I had given them happiness. I couldn't take that away from them again. Not after what I had to go through to do it. No, cut that out. Getting way too depressing, Giselle. Pull yourself together, that's not who you are. Be positive. The negativity didn't only come from my interaction with Michael either. No, there seemed to be some kind of terrible presence within the mansion that twisted people's heart. The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and that an evil witch had lived here in it for many, many years. Michael joked that he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. I'm not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, I can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can't go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve. A lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up the way they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us again. If I could get him to open up even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here a little easier. I wasn't going to try to make us best friends or anything, just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. I've got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, what is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off, do it another day. No, I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get to it quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are going to get. And eventually, there won't be any fixing anything. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds and we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not a reason I have something to hide. Okay, let's do this. I made my way to Michael's chamber, which he had told me to stay away from. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. This is one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Pardon, Master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? I guess he's not here. The door wasn't locked, as was the rest of the house. His room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, Master? And this is the main bedroom. Okay, so now maybe we're about to see what we saw in the visions before. This was the place. I guess I missed him. It's probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got less than stellar impression of me. I don't want to imagine what happened if he thinks I've been snooping through his room. Yeah, I should get out of here. I spun around on my heels, taking a step forward towards the door, when I caught a sight of an object draped in a black sheet. Oh my god. I knew I had to get out of there as quickly as possible, but I was intrigued by that object. Something he kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter. Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michael's secrets. I reached my hands toward the object, knowing good and well I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it the whispers of the witch? Wow. What was there? A painting. What do we have here? I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting of what appeared to be a noblewoman with porcelain white skin. What stood out about her, though, was that the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. And then... oh, white-haired woman. What? I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaged the canvas, damaging her face beyond repair. What? I imagined it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. Oh, it's the painting from the third door. The ravaged painting Maria found in the basement. That is it. Interesting. Wow, okay. So we actually got a bit of a glimpse toward that. Maybe we'll find the answer soon. The only feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. This damage was not accidental, it was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from this within the frame was stifling. Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone... She was surely a most beautiful woman, angelic even. A storm of questions assaulted me. Who was she? Why had her face been carved up? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? Who could have? There's only one person who could have done this. Michael. Why on earth? You saw it, didn't you? You saw the painting, didn't you? You entered my room without permission and you saw the painting, didn't you? Angelic, you say? There's nothing angelic about that damned woman. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth. All I could do was tremble. Wow, he's like Yukimasa, the beast from the second act. Oh my god, he's actually threatening her. Why did you enter my chambers? What were you looking for? Answer me. My mouth wouldn't move properly. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like I wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisp of air were drawn into my lungs were expelled as a hoarse gas. My breath was shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feeling, of the knife he was holding up to me, of the terrible past I was chained to. The man voice, the man very flesh, terrified me. What were you trying to find, and what were you planning to do with it? Nah, answer me. Another thing you refuse to tell me then. No, I'm trying. Nothing coming out of my mouth though. Everything's so bright. And I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. That's fine though. You don't have to tell me. I have a pretty good idea. An idea? What do you mean? Money's what brought you to the Bollinger estate. And it's what brought you to me too. There are countless people who would love to see that house fall. And the noble family fears nothing more than disrepute. You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bollinger downfall. No. And as it just so happens, the Bollinger have a very unfortunate secret. One they are quite desperate to keep under wraps. Me. Oh, someone suspected I might still be alive, so they sent you to dig up information about me. My very existence threatened to tear down that house. Oh, so he's an illegitimate child or something. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michael, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. Oh, so he's not an illegitimate kid? You sweet-talked your way into that house and into information about me and my present situation. And you mean to trade that information for money. I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bollinger family is you. No, that's not true. Then enlighten me. Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffed around or trying to bring to you harm in any way. Then tell me, if that's not a reason you wormed your way into the Bollinger estate, that's not what you're doing here. Then tell me what is. Tell me why you came to this mansion. You want me to tell you about that? No way. That's asking way too much. Lady, he has a knife straight to your throat. I would tell him. Tell me. I swear, I haven't done anything wrong to you. I simply want to make our life together a little more comfortable. To bring some warmth to this frigid relationship we have. That's the only reason I want to find out more about you. I must assume I'm right there, Giselle. I must tell him he's wrong. I must tell him I mean him no harm. But I can't say anything. A merchant daughter became an Abigail at Noble House? Could you come up with a more obvious lie? Your father is the one who... Wait, how does he know that I'm from a merchant family? You look perplexed. I may be imprisoned in this house, not free to move about as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything. Everything. Then he knows about that too. Oh yes, I do know. Please, don't. In your quest for money, don't say it. You slept with my father. Okay. Ah, man. That is bad. I thought she stole something and was sent away. But that's far worse. Oh my god. Oh my days. In that moment, Michael plunged his knife into my heart. He carved through my chest with those words, causing me to completely lose control of myself. Yeah, okay, so this was metaphorically, thank God. In a panicked frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside and ran, and ran, and ran. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. Oh, how I wished a bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burned my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, it would get rid of some of the filth. But the jagged streaks of light, cascading across the dark clouds, did not strike me, only creating restless grumbles in the sky. Huh. Oh, she's laughing? Why? I knew that if I fled that mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister, but I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me with no regard for the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and my cries, because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak. Each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh, but a bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I'd been through before. Michael had spoken the truth. As much as I wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes, reality was forever engraved in this body. No, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head. Oh, this is why she was so anxious when he touched her. As well, now that I think about it. Come, Antonin, come over here, Giselle. Oh, okay. May I ask why you asked me? May I ask why you asked me here so late at night, Master? Oh, I just wanted to have a little chat. Care for some wine? Come closer, I'll pour you a glass. I had this wine imported from up north. They use very hard water and like it rather tart, so it leaves quite a lasting impression on your tongue. And yet, it goes down so easily, you just can't seem to stop. What do you say? Have a sip. Or does your expertise as a trader allow you to evaluate a wine quality without tasting it? No, but please, Giselle, don't trample all over my good graces. Very well then, I will have a sip, master, but no more. Have you ever considered growing out your hair? Having long hair made it difficult to do my job. You're not a merchant anymore, though. You deserve to look like the woman you truly are. I have no doubt longer hair would accentuate your natural beauty. It's a gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man could get lost in it for years. It would contrast the color of your skin fabulously. Highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape, your shoulders, and your chest. I should get going. Oh, but we're not done talking yet. I would not want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was delicious. Huh? No need to be so cold-hearted now. From that moment, I first laid eyes on you. Master, that's enough fooling around for one night. Now, no, don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. I simply want to express my love. Let go of me. I only came here to work, nothing more. The first time I saw you, I thought it would be a tragic waste to leave you to wither away working at some little street-side shop. Stop. You can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason you would be allowed here. No, I swear it never even crossed my mind. It would seem like you're even more innocent than you look. But you figured it all out by now, haven't you? No, let go of me. Stop this. Keep your voice down. Do not shout, Giselle. If anyone were to find about this, you would be the one shouldering the consequences, not me. But you're a maid and I'm the master of this house. Whose word do you think holds more weight? Don't worry, I won't do anything to hurt you. I promise your family will be exceptionally well taken care of. Your mother will have the comfortable life you wanted for her. But you know what will happen. If you raise a fuss and make a fool of yourself, not only will your family not get any of their money, and not only will your sister not get married, you'll all spend the rest of your lives on the streets. How could you be so cruel? This is blackmail. Blackmail? For a merchant's daughter, you don't know much about trade, do you? Then let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. Understand? Now, let me see that beautiful body of yours. Shame on him. He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong. But I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true color for the first time that day. The aging man ran his disgusting, slobbery tongue across my exposed skin. Everything he had placed his hand upon withered away. Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips against putrefied, rotted, decayed, rankled. I trembled in revulsion, at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I wondered what kind of place hell was. If hell warden only flayed and carved their prisoners, I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second, but I didn't get to choose my hell. Eventually, the man forced open the gates I had been holding fast, and spread his festering death inside me. Listen to me, Giselle. It is in both of our interests to keep this between the two of us. If you can do that, I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't you look at me like that, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house, Giselle. She has long lost her mind after all. It's torture just being in the same room. And my sons, they hardly ever come home. But you, Giselle, you give color to my dull life. You make it exciting once again. Now go back to your room. I'll be waiting here at the same time next week. I couldn't escape from that man's grasp, not when he used my family against me. Some weeks I would not just go to his chambers, my one feeble means of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another Abigail to come find me the next day. I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then, when two of us were alone, the mask would come off, and he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inscriptious places, my abdomen, my inner thigh. But he went as far as covering a word into my skin with a knife. Harlot! That was why I was afraid of knives. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion, but every time the thought crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the three of us girls and the shop. Life may not have been easy, but never been dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its absolute lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were back then. That objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotion, so he couldn't hurt me. I was merely a vessel, a construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, for it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear. But the reality was, it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body. You're Giselle, aren't you? One day, the mistress of the estate stopped me in the halls. She had, supposedly, once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony. Her skin dry, her eyes sunken, and her hair faded and stripped out of its luster. Her head down, her cracked lips barely moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside too, something that could burst at the lightest touch. Yes, I'm Giselle. Is there something I can do for you? The mistress rarely ever left her chambers. I had been told it had been years since she attended the family... Oh, I accidentally clicked. Wait, where was it? Oh yeah, she attended a family supper. So what would bring her to come looking for someone like me? What? I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. You're having relations with my husband, aren't you? You are, aren't you? Madam. You wretched creature. She was telling me the truth. One of my trusty maid caught a glimpse of you through a crack in the door. She saw you with him, you filthy rat. You seduced my husband. You devil. You conniving witch. You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Someone, anyone, restrain this girl. She's a demon, a devil. Tie her up and hand her over to the clergy. Ah, no, that won't be enough. A witch, you have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or she'll just come back to life. Yes, execute her. Kill this woman. Burn the witch. Seize the piece she's stolen from me. Cursed. It's cursed. This house is cursed. Not only taking away my daughter, now it's trying to take away my husband. Ah, God, please shine thy cleansing light upon this house. I knew it would be a waste of breath trying to talk to her. She was not of sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. I didn't even have to make a fuss about it. It happened all on its own. If there was no way around it, then I should have just done it myself after the first time. I didn't have the energy to argue with her, or cry, or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, but much to my surprise, he stepped in with an embarrassed look on his face to try to settle his wife down and convince her not to have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart, after all, or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided I would be sent away to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She had returned to life after being executed, and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. I hope my mom and sister are alright. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and a single, solid passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again, ever cross the Grand Pond again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I had finally escaped from that house. I had finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was about to reside, the Bollinger youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent to the cursed mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter only made a single request, that I look after him and not ask any questions. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I look after whoever at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family. I don't have much to say in the matter either way, I suppose. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path and bouncing around inside it. I resolved to take back my life. The peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost, and to do so, I would forget. Lock away my memories, bury everything terrible thing that had happened to me, cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. I have no idea who am I going to find out there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile, and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured since the both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common. And so, I would forget it all, and get my life back, get my smile back. And that was everything that led up to me arriving to the mansion. All the wounds I never wanted to open again. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why? Why did you have to make me remember? All I did was believe that we could make things work. Oh, how could you? God, I can't take it anymore. Oh man, so sad. Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Exactly how he ran his hands across me, exactly where he hit me, where he cut me, like I was going through it again. This very moment, the rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat had built up in my gut. I vomited all over the ground. I threw up and I threw up and I threw up until there was nothing left but bile. When I had nothing left to expel, the strength evacuated from my knees and I collapsed. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain or because my eyes had decided they were done looking at anything. The whole world twisted before me. Michael's no different. My attempts to get close to him, to always keep a smile on, it was all a waste. The look in his eyes was terrifying, like he didn't believe in anything at all. So he probably wouldn't have believed me if I told him the truth. If he's convinced I have an ulterior motive, there's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. If I lie down here and go to sleep, I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body. And then I'll decompose and become part of the earth. You know, that might actually be nice. I'd like that. I always thought I didn't want to die, that I want to go back to the way things were. But who cares anymore? I did my best after all, and that still got me nowhere. Cheerful, Giselle was all just a farce. And when I'm dead, all my worry for mom and sister will fade away with me. Oh God, I doubt you even have a place for me on high. I am after all, an unclean woman, and I've given up on living altogether. But even if I can't get into heaven, that's okay. I want release. The rain pitter-pattered down through the leaves overhead, chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and cut into my bones, my heart and lungs and stomach, freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. Utter black. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. So we're back at the house. I am even now putting her through a harrowing experience, digging up the memories she'd locked away, the past she wanted to pretend never happened, and laying it all out before her once more. But I must get her back to who she once was, even if it means forcing her to endure this. She must remember everything. Because I need to know. Why did she become the maid? And what secrets does this house hold? You're Michael. Yes, my name is Michael. Okay, so now it's confirmed. I am indeed Michael. I am not the white-haired girl. The person you were searching for was the man who once hurt you deeply. Me. So we begin to take shape. Why? What was her why referring to? Why I hurt her? Or why I'm here? Or perhaps why I didn't show up until now? Not having an answer for her, I clenched her cold hands in mind. I wonder, were her hands this cold that night too? There's still more we need to see though, and it's still too soon for me to apologize. When she's gotten everything back, only then can I, once she reclaimed herself, that is when I must tell her. Now, let us return to our past. Oh, so I'm leading the story now. Our story has only just begun. No matter what we thought or what we desired, no matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered, we must not shut this door. Wow. Perfect darkness embraces us once more. I can see nothing, not even the woman beside me, but I shall not let go of her hand. I do not want her to slip away from me. I do not want to lose her. Ah, God bless. This was bright. Oh, you, uh, we stay with me. Are you alright? Oh, thank goodness you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me? What? You had me scared silly there. I thought I might have lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive. Where am I? And who is this man? What was I doing? You feeling up for any food? I can whip us some porridge for you right quick. I was in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. I feel sick, like there's still something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything. You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy. Unless you want to conk out again in an hour. Sounds good to me. I'd rather never wake up at all. You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something to warm in you. To get something warm in you. Please, have something. I've got some milk on the fire. I bet you can handle a cup of that. You start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you, reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You'll feel like a whole new gal. A heart-wrenching pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam from within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip, and the warmth that swept through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was kindness in the world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. I heard a gentle sigh come from the man in beside me. After which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I had lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what had happened to me or why I was here, who he was, or even where this was. I spent the whole day in bed, just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. It felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times I felt like a lost child, and at times like a sickly old woman on her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and the fact that each moment that went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I'd gotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sunlight, something I didn't get much of in the dark mansion. Only after losing something you realize how much you need it. Warm milk, the light shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for everything. You're sure you're in any shape to be on your feet? Yes, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. You look pretty beat up to me. But you look a lot better now, and you're talking a lot more clearly than before. You've been very generous, despite having never met me before, and for that, you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world. I don't deserve your thanks. You're alive because God's guidance made it so. God. I came across you early this morning as I was heading into the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in a forest? You don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone got their own share of personal problems. You're not going to demand I talk. I have no reason to force you to do anything. You look like you've been to hell and back. What? I could tell just by looking at you. Now then, do you have somewhere you can go? Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital or the mansion. If not, then why don't you stay here? Here? Sure. It's a small village. We're self-sufficient, and we all help each other out. No thanks, hungry lords, and we build the place either, so we keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic, but I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers will be glad to have you. What do you say? Sorry, Mom. What I'm about to do make the rest of the family lives more difficult, but I didn't want to feel any more pain. I really wouldn't be inconveniencing to you. If it's really okay, then yes, inconveniencing you. I would like to stay here. That's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name is, uh, I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm about to pronounce it, Amid. Just one lowly villager of many. I'm Giselle. Giselle, that's a beautiful name. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a vacant house. Clean it up, and you can call it home. I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself. That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the villager representative, more or less. Representative? Like the chief? Only in name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's map, so I don't have much representing to do. The only reason I ended up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. It was a long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teachings. So rather than a chief, the people of the village would look at me more like a priest. Wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained. Then, you believe in God? That's quite a question. Of course God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived, because he protected you. I understand that your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation, but those are the times where the most important you keep sight of who you are. Right. Now, you get some rest. Tomorrow I'll show you around the village. Thank you. I truly mean it. I really sincerely appreciate everything. Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now, too, so you don't need to act like a stranger anymore. Okay. So he's Amin. He seems like a nice man. Maybe here, I can leave in peace. It will be alright, I'm sure. Yeah, I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect, but I had found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. Well, I had once been ready to give up on absolutely everything. I was starting to feel like I might be able to smile again, eventually. Like I might be able to get back on my feet. And in order to do that, I had to cast aside my past once more. Forget everything that had happened at the Bollinger estate and everything that had happened at the mansion. Forget about Michael. There was one niggling curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake. Something he had said before I left. Oh my god, that kind of scared me. My very existence threatened to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michael, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead but is very much alive. Yeah, what was that all about? What he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Michael one bit. Forget it. Forget everything. The house was, as it had always been, wrapped in thick silence. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking in the holes for about a month, was nowhere to be found. She hadn't come back since running off that day. My secret was still safe. Her efforts had, in the end, all been for naught. Back to the ways things were. But despite my mind telling me that it was for the best, I felt kind of guilt seething in the back of my chest. And any attempt to figure out why only made me feel worse. But the look on her face then. Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you any harm in any way. Was that really her just putting on an act because I revealed her scheming? She was screaming though, and she looked genuinely terrified when she knocked my hand away. I'm not falling for anything. I feel like I know that frenzied panic. Something doesn't add up. I think he's realizing what his father did. Be quiet. Silence, please. My head was pounding beyond belief. I couldn't stand anything. This world, the creature I was, the witch whispering. The archangels looking down upon me seemed to be cackling from somewhere far out of reach. So, for whatever it was worth, to escape from his gaze, I once again drew the drapes over the stained glass window. Oh, that's why I did it in the first place. So he's not gonna go after her? Whoa, it's someone new. Hey, where you from? You're gonna be here long? Are you? Are you? Children. We hardly ever get visitors here, so they're downright awestruck by you. You'll be getting a lot of attention for a little, but please, don't let it get to you. No, that's just fine. I'll do my best to get along with everyone. Huh. You've got a spark in you that wasn't there yesterday. Anything in particular that cheered you up? In particular? Once I decided I was going to stay here, I just sort of started feeling better about things. And I figured I couldn't stay gloomy forever. I see. Glad to hear it. And it's all thanks to you, Amid. Keep thanking me like that, and my cheeks might get stuck red. In any event, I said I'd show you around yesterday, so how about we get to that? Lead the way. That said, we're a modest little village of about 100. Everyone knows everyone. For that size, it looks pretty big to me. I mean, taking the lead, we walked through the village, passing by crop fields and milk cows, presumably shared among the villagers. Houses were scattered across an area that seemed far too large for only 100 people. Actually, getting a better look at them, the buildings were dilapidated, oh my god, looking more like ruins than residence. Once upon a time, this city was, rather than a village... Oh wow, when your ancestor lived here? Oh no, we were drifters fortunate enough to come across some decent looking land, so we stuck around. How do you know what it was like before then? There are a few stone tablets left behind, and based on what we were able to extract from their texts, this area used to be a large city, with a booming economy rivaling that of the capital. There weren't hundreds, but thousands of people bustling about. Merchants from afar came in droves. It was much like how the capital is now. Actually, this area was more open to foreigners, people of all different races speaking as many different languages. It was evidently quite a sight and sound. I had no idea there was a city here. That's what happens when a place is wiped from history. I couldn't tell you how reliable the tablets are, but if you take them at the word, the city lost everything in just a single week. What? People, crops, livestock, all dead. Maybe it was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague, I can't say for sure. This is what the tablet said, though. Oh my god! We've been cursed by the witch. That jump scared me. The bloody wolves. And now the happy music cue back in. Bro, that actually made me jump. Oh my god, that was interesting. I kind of wish I could see the picture again. It seemed like the mansion cursed by the witch. Look over there. You see that river? There used to be a magnificent bridge crossing it, but there's hardly anything left of it. If you continue along the path beyond the fallen bridge, there's a forest. That's where I found you. The deeper parts of the forest are so dense you can't see anything but the tree trunks and leaves. It's an eerie place wrapped in a cloud of darkness. If you make it through that, there's a mansion, which is said to be cursed. The witch who supposedly destroyed the city lives in the house deep in the forest. She's been there for years and years and years, and she casts her curse on anyone who goes near it. The city was so large that the mansion was actually in its borders. My guess is that the bridge was built to mark the road leading to it. Now, as you can see, the bridge is gone, the house still standing here. The houses still standing are practically in ruins, but the mansion alone looks just as it did back then. The witch living in the mansion go by the name Morgana. According to the records, someone by that name was executed in the area for witchcraft, and even in death, she continues to bear her grudge against mankind. Who knows how much of it true though? True or fiction, the story had taken root in this region. The city history may be lost, but the legend of the witch continues to be told. People have a tendency to keep stories alive that scare them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. No, I'm fine. You're best staying away from the mansion in the forest at any rate. There's no saying what might happen if curiosity gets the better of you. Better safe than sorry, if you ask me. Aside from the mansion, this is as peaceful a village you'll ever find. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you didn't end up wandering up there. I know all about the mansion, who lives there. I was there after all, with Michael, for a full month. But I don't remember any cursed witch, just a man with a bone-chilling glare. Maybe the rumors about the witch living there were spread by him, or perhaps even his family. I could see them doing that, but none of that matters to me anymore. I'm never going anywhere near that house again. The witch's curse, Michael, they're nothing to me. With nowhere else to go, I ended up in this small village. There was no denying that there was very little to speak of here, but I found peace in that nothingness. I couldn't have been more blessed that such a kind man had found me and welcomed me into his village. The village ran entirely on its own crops and livestock. They had no currency, merely bartered among themselves. Coming from a merchant family, everything felt so new. I had never plowed a large plot of land, milked a cow, or used a loom before. At first, I wasn't sure what to think, being such a departure from my lifestyle in the capital. But over time, I grew more comfortable with my new life, and the people of the village started thinking of me as one of them. Come on, Giselle, come play with us. We're playing hide and seek today. Can't, sorry, I'm spinning yarn. You can do that later. Come on, play with us. Ah, stop that, don't pull on my skirt. Alright, you win. When I'm done with this, I'll join you. And no ditching, we'll be down at the square, okay? Got it. See you there. Huh, the kids have taken quite a liking to you. You think so? They've been incredibly lively since you arrived. Children are more sensitive than adults. Sensitive? They're very perceptive of how others are feeling. If you are begrudgingly playing along, they'll pick up on that quickly. You like children, and that's a wonderful thing. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children. Ah, why, thank you. I don't think it's so much that I like them, as much as I like being a kid myself. I genuinely enjoy hide and seek, but that's not going to earn me any points. I like kids too. Watching them, it gives me faith that this world has a bright future. A bright future. I never looked at them that way. They seem to like you quite a bit though, thanks. Though I'd rather give my affection to my own kids. Oh, you have children? Oh heavens no, I thought that was obvious enough. I'm talking about the future. I see. But knowing you, Amit, I'm sure you'll find someone right for you, and have kids of your own in no time. It's not that easy, sadly. Even in such a small village, there are no ladies who would take interest in me. You don't give yourself enough credit. I'm fully confident you'll find someone soon enough. Do you really think so? Absolutely. Then perhaps you could be that person. What? Pardon? I won't pressure you into it, of course, but I think it would be marvelous to have you in my life in a bigger way. But it's a little soon for me to think about settling down like that. It is pretty sudden, I admit. Take all the time you need to consider it. Alright. I have to go play with the kids now. Have fun. I wonder if he really meant it. Hamid is a nice fellow, and I'm sure living here would be wonderful. But I can't help feeling something isn't right here. Why am I thinking about him, now of all times? That man has no redeemable qualities, not one. Oh, is she thinking about Michael? As it turned out, Amit was serious about his proposition, and he brought it up every time we ran into each other. Unable to give him an answer, I found myself constantly apologizing to him. Soon, winter started, giving way to spring. On a day when the air still had a brisk of winter bite and budding seedlings battled to break through the earth. The seams holding the village together began to come loose. Oh. That day, the village men was gathered in the square talking. They all had stern look on their faces. It was clear that something had happened. I obviously couldn't stick my head in, so I went till they were done and cut a mead. While it was rather awkward, I was still more comfortable asking him for information than anyone else. Actually, with a dejected look on his face, he started explaining. A lord found out about this village. What? And he's saying he's going to place this land under his rule, meaning he'll start collecting taxes. In addition, he's also demanding we pay 5 years worth of back taxes for our unauthorized use of the land. What? That's ridiculous. Yes, it most certainly is. We obviously don't have the means to pay 5-year taxes. There's no reason for him to take over this village at all. We're completely isolated from the surrounding area, after all. But if we resist, we can send soldier. It doesn't matter how absurd his claim to the village is. We have no choice but to comply. That's terrible. What are we going to do then? We're going to do as the Lord demands. The 5-year taxes will have to be paid in installments. Some of the men suggested that we abandon this land and find somewhere else, but it would take time to cultivate the land and plant new crops. It's no trivial task. We'll just have to make do with these changes. We'll use more of the land to grow and try to be more efficient. Will you help in the field? Of course. This village is my home now too. Thank you, Giselle. It will be difficult, but if we all pitch in, I'm sure we can get through this. I thought the same thing. If we all worked together, we couldn't make it through this rough patch. But the collection of taxes brought more than just a burden for everyone to share. It brought emotional strain and conflict to the village too. Your family has more hands to work the fields. I have a sickly child. You expect him to work harder than he is? I know you're hiding grain in your cellar. You have more than us. Let us keep a little grain. You have more. No, you have more. You both have more than us. When their comfortable lives fell under attack, the villagers' top priority became their own property. The cooperation was only temporary, and before long everyone became a threat. The negative energy only built on itself, its growth accelerating like a boulder rolling down a hill. And it wasn't long before their sight fell on me, the outsider. Come on, get moving. Oh, stop that. Why are you doing this? I'll stop once you've told us everything. Told you what? One morning, a man dragged me from my house and took me to the square. There, the entire rest of the village was gathered, all eyes on me. What? What was this about? Oh, don't play stupid. We all know it was you. What was me? The thief. Me? From the crowd appeared someone I knew quite well. The ever-affable village representative. The man who had saved my life. But in his eyes now, I thought you were better than this, was contempt, anger, scorn. So many different shades of negativity. I recognized what I saw in his glare immediately as someone who had been subjected to these looks before. But why? For what reason was he looking at me like that? I couldn't make sense of what was happening, so I just stood there, stupefied. There's been a rise in reports of people having things stolen lately. This village is too small to attract bandits though. Since the Lord now demands we pay him taxes, even the smallest item loss can have a dramatic impact on a family's living conditions. What you've done is no joke. Wait a second. I haven't stolen anything. Why do you think You have been seen in the act. What? So as long as there is testimony against you, your guilt is assured. Who say they saw me? I swear I didn't do anything. They're obviously lying. You're the one who lying. You've been playing us for fool this whole time. Everything was fine until you showed up. We managed not to get found until you showed up. No, that's not my fault. Giselle, apologize to the village and return what you've taken. I mean, don't you believe me? There were multiple witnesses. Several different people saw you stealing. I've known these people long enough to be family, and I trust them like family too. They're not liars. But, no, they're framing me. I didn't steal anything, I swear. Framing you? Now you want to put this on us, woman? Unbelievable. Have you forgotten we welcomed you into our village? Please believe me. You of all people should believe me. You've been avoiding me of late, haven't you? What? Because you had something to hide, correct? No, why? What other reason would you have to avoid me? Why? How could I say these things? Why won't he believe me? Now return the thing you've stolen. I can't. I never stole anything. How am I even supposed to return something I don't have? I see. So you already removed the stolen goods. She said she doesn't have them anymore, folks. How should we deal with this? Rough her up till she talks. Yeah, she's not getting off that easy. Give us back our property. What? Why is this happening to me? The harsh new ruleship has driven these people mad. I need to get away from this village, quick. Restrain her. No, get your hands off me. Have you forgotten everything we've done for you? All that matters is that you don't have to suffer, is that it? I didn't do anything. Take her to my house. We'll make her tell us everything. No, stop. You've all gone mad. Please come to your senses. With men on all four sides of me, I was dragged into a meat house. He sat coolly in the chair, and they shoved me to my knees before him. I'll ask you this one more time, Giselle. Where did you put the thing you stole? And I'll keep giving you the same answer. I didn't take anything from anyone. Please believe me. Do you swear, with God as your witness? I do. I swear with all my heart. You don't actually believe her, do you, I mean? She not only sold us to the Lord, she's now threatening to make our lives downright impossible. Again, that's just a coincidence. Listen to me, Emil. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. The woman had committed 3 sins. She has lies, she has stolen, and she has betrayed her fellow men. Why are you doing this, Emil? You're such a good man. I am deeply disappointed in you, Giselle. As much as I don't want to do this, I have to get the truth from you. Of course, why didn't I see it? I'm still just an outsider to them. Why would he believe a stranger word over the word of any village, his family? The water. What? A man set a wooden well bucket on the floor in front of me. In it wasn't clean water from the well though, but a grimy, murky wastewater. I reflectively turned my hand from the stench, but the man behind me grabbed me by the hair, and before I had a chance to realize what was happening, the world around me went brown. Ugh. I struggled with all my might to break free, but my arms were tied behind my back, and I didn't have the strength to overpower the man holding my head down. Reflexively grasping out for air, the stream of filthy water poured into my mouth. Ugh. Pull her out. We get nothing if she dies. Put her back in. And keep at it until she decides she's ready to talk. No. Ah, how unsightly. And to think I ever considered marrying this woman. Stop. Oh god, that's horrible. We can stop whenever you want, Giselle. You just have to tell us the truth. Please. Oh. Stop. I was given no time to rest. My head shoved into the bucket, then pulled out just long enough for me to steal a breath before going back in, over and over again. Not a person in the room objected to the abuse I was receiving. I had prayed for good harvest with these people. They had taught me how to use a loom, something I had never touched before. We had laughed together, lived together. They were normal people, perfectly ordinary, kind, helpful, friendly people. Not at all cruel or inhumane, but now they burned with a frenzy that overshadowed all my memories of them. And every gargle, gasp, and grunt they got from me fueled that fire. Dozens of eyes, laced with madness, stared down upon me, rejoicing at my suffering. My consciousness was slipping away from me. I thought I could hear laughing and chattering, but it all passed through my ears as a mere noise, nothing I could make sense of. I would, stay with me. I mean? Oh, thank goodness you're awake. Wait, what was I just doing? Alright, I was in the forest, on the verge of death. Then Amit found me and we almost lost valuable manpower there. We were just discussing what to do about you, Zell, and we decided to make you a village property. No, he didn't save me. If you agree to work with us, we'll put this whole nasty mess behind us. You may be worthless in the field and terrible with the loom, but there's plenty you can help with. What are you going to make me do? You like to get your hands dirty, and considering I found you half dead in the forest, I doubt the rest of you is any cleaner. Ian, it seems like we've come to an agreement. I'll keep watch over her starting today, to make sure she stays in line and doesn't steal anything else. Dirty, stay in line. The way they're looking at me, they didn't have to spell it out. No, anything but that. Please have mercy. If you're begging for mercy, that means you know you've done something from wrong. Let's see, there's one way, Giselle. Give back what you stole naturally, but if you're going to insist that's not possible, then bring us something of equal value. And if you can't do that, then your life belongs to the village. The men were cackling. They knew I couldn't do it, and they were enjoying watching me squirm. Take your pick, Giselle. Something of equal value. If I can get that, then you'll set me free? In a moment, a little bit of darkness bubbled up in my heart. Something maleficent whispered in my ear. If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to a larger town. I think I know where you can get something worth some money. The mansion in the forest has some fairly valuable furniture in it. Oh god, when did I become... You can steal some of that yourself for good money. Such a despicable woman. You mean that cursed mansion? You expect us to go there? Are you out of your mind? Anyone who goes near that house is killed by the witch's curse. There is no witch living there. There is no curse. Giselle, what do you know about that mansion? I lived there for a while. Well, for a month. You what? The son of a noble lives there. He's human and he's alone. A noble? What's a noble boy doing this far from the city? I presume he was banished there. I was sent to the mansion from the capital to act as his servant. There was plenty of value in the house too. Shelves lined with books. There should be more than enough to pay the Lord's 5-year worth of taxes. Is what you're saying true? I would not lie. As bewilderment spread through me the house, I was unable to look at anything but the floor. I couldn't stop trembling. To protect myself, I had to sold out to Michael. You swear there's just a single man living in that house? Yes, it's only him. Alright, if it turns out you're lying, you'll pay. Okay, everyone, you heard her. Tell all the young men to get ready. We're going up to the mansion in the forest. And just to be safe, make sure everyone brings something they can use as a weapon. And you, Giselle, you're coming with us. You'll be leading the way. Listen to me. Don't think about trying to run. Right. On the cusp of springtime, I found myself trekking through the dreary forest. I had thought I would never set foot in again. How had I ended up here? How could I never manage to avoid getting myself into these situations? And who would have guessed that my reason for returning to the mansion would be to loot it? I prayed for God to show me a little mercy and ensure Michael wasn't around. Though I knew the chances of that happening were almost zero. Oh my days, what's gonna happen? After several hours of walking, we broke through the thick woods and the mansion appeared before us. Like its surrounding, the house was bleak and uninviting. Even the midday sun seemed disinterested in shining its light upon it. Despite, on the surface, there not being much of anything impressive about it, the entire mob stood speechless before its overwhelming presence. But the men had weapons, and they were fueled by avarice, which gave them the courage to approach this place they wouldn't normally otherwise. Door won't open. I think it's barred from the inside. It would seem someone really does live in this cursed place. I'm honestly surprised, even more so that it's not a witch, but just a noble. The door's old. We could break it down. Yeah, let's bust it out. Hold on, there is no need to be barbaric. Did you even consider knocking on the door like normal people? You sound like a band of thieves. Huh, that's something else coming from you. Who do you think proposed this plan, Giselle? You! Alright, men, you ready for a life of luxury? Break down that door. It's the damn nobles who make our lives so hard. They deserve to be robbed. Break it. Break down the door. Please stop this. Break it down. Break it down. Stop. I find it kind of weird that they suddenly became from nice people into savages, which is just like kind of odd, but okay, I mean, guess I have to accept it. All their repressed emotions detonated. They battered the door again and again and again, and in a few minutes' time, it was on the verge of collapse. They shouted and cheered and hooted like madmen, as my peaceful life came crumbling down around me. Growing light headed from the anxiety. I squeezed my eyes shut, unable to bear it any longer, when the deep groan of a door opening echoed through the forest. It would seem you are not aware whose house you're trying to break into. Oh. The world went silent, like time had come to a stop. No one could manage to say a word, only stare at the man who had appeared from within the mansion. Surely you know what this place is called. Beneath the dazzling midday sun, he had a bone-chillingly alabaster skin and long, nearly translucently pale hair. So surely you came prepared for whatever you would find. And his eyes were like two blazing infernos staring out across the mob. Oh, so it was... Oh, man. He's like the white-haired girl. He has the porcelain skin, the white hair, and the red eyes. A demon. Someone muttered, probably unconsciously. He did indeed look like something not of this world. It's a demon. The rumors about this place were true. A cursed demon lives there. Demon? Him? Michael? No, he's not cursed. Indeed, I am cursed. Oh. The witch curse is real. I really like that frame. I have inherited it in its entirety, as well as her purpose. A witch, a demon, a spirit impure. Call me whatever you wish, for the truth shall not change. I carry within me an eternal curse. Behold my flesh, pale as the moon. No red blood flows beneath the skin, as it does yours. Behold my hair, utterly devoid of color, offered up to the devil as part of our pact. Behold his crimson eyes, a symbol of a lifeblood split at my hands. I shall bring calamity upon you as the witch of legend, never minding famine, plague, catastrophe, suffering for generations. Until the moment of your death, you shall regret ever coming near this place. No, have mercy, it was that woman, she brought us here, tempted us with promises of wealth, deceived us, told us to pillage this house. We're innocent. Please have mercy on us. Give her to me then, as an offering. Absolutely, she's yours. Torture her, however you please. I have one more condition. You never come near this house again. If you so much as consider it, you will all die by my curse. I swear it, we won't return. Run, get out of here. He saved her. Without so much as a glance back, the villager scrambled into the forest, and the men who once had rescued me that night, went right along with them. Is there kindness in the world? I wasn't sure what to think anymore. Don't think I'm helping you. His voice rained down on me, but I couldn't lift my head. There was such a gaping void in my chest. I had no idea what question I should be asking anymore, what I should be angry about. What should I be sad about? Not even the first clue. Look at me. Look at me, Giselle. Tell me, is it true you returned to the mansion to plunder it? That you brought those men here to rob me of my valuables? Answer me, Giselle. Yes, it's true. I persuaded them to steal from you. Are you really so desperate for money that you resort to looting? Just how low will you go? Not only did you seduce my father, not only did you go digging around for information about me, you brought a mob to this house. And they were armed too. Were you trying to get me killed? Answer me, Giselle. Not even going to defend yourself. Your scheme failed, so you're retreating into silence. Ah, for God's sake, you sicken me. I'm done with you. I'm done. Leave this place and never show your face here again. As he shouted at me and I stared into his fiery red eyes, a somewhat inappropriate thought crossed my mind. So he can't get emotional like anyone else. And in my heart, stripped raw and cast out to the sea, finally sunk deep enough to be crushed by the pressure. Me. What? If you want me gone, then kill me. You can do that, can't you? You can use your curse to kill me, can't you? Then do it right here. Use your power. Take my life. And if you don't want to do that, stab me with your knife. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. What? I'm done. I can't take it. I'm through with this whole world. No one will believe anything I say. No one cares a bit about how I feel. They just walk all over me laughing. Why? Tell me why. Why is this happening to me? I never stole anything. What? What are you talking about? I tried my best to look happy. I thought everything would work out if I could keep smiling. I believed that I would make things better. That would make things better, but nothing ever got better. What did I ever do? Tell me, what did I do? But you. All I ever did was believe. Tried my best to survive, to always wear a smile. But if everything's going to be my fault, and I have to deal with that for the rest of my life, then I'm done. I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live in this world anymore. Calm down, please. I don't follow what you're saying. My understanding is that you desired money, so you brought that mob. And before that, you used my father. You wouldn't believe me if I told you the real story. You'll take your family word over mine. You don't have any idea what I went through there. How hard it was just to keep myself together. What? I never wanted riches. All I wanted was decent enough wage to allow my family to live comfortably. That's all I wanted, but that man, he used my family against me. He made me, forced me to, he raped me. What? Again and again, no matter how much I resisted, he wouldn't stop. Again and again. He threatened me, beat me, cut me with a knife, over and over and over again. What? My father raped you? No one would believe me. I did nothing wrong. You wouldn't believe me either, would you? Do you? So I'm done. I don't want this body anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't take it anymore. Help me. Please set me free. Kill me. Kill me already. Use your curse and kill me. Kill me! Give me a moment. I need time to process this. You can do it, can't you? Then kill me already. Kill me now. Kill me, damn it. Give me time so we can talk this through. I want to hear everything from the beginning. Inside, let's go inside and talk. The light hurts my eyes. That was the door. I might have best let stay shut. Not knowing the truth would have been so much easier. I wouldn't have been made to shudder in disgust, hearing about the crimes of my own family. But if I hadn't opened that door, I would have lost everything. That day, After far too long, I finally let myself see the person in Giselle. Giselle didn't recover for some time after I managed to get her inside. Unsure what else I could do for her, I had her sit before the fireplace and waited in silence as she sobbed. I had no idea what one was supposed to say to someone who was crying. Was it normal to offer them a warm drink? I didn't know. I didn't know I need to reflect on things she had said outside and try to make sense of them. And from there, calm myself down and prepare for the conversation we were to have, as unpleasant as I was sure it would be. A considerable amount of time later, Giselle's sobbing drew to a stop, an oppressive silence stepping in to take its place. For far longer than was comfortable, the only sound we heard was the gentle crackling of the fire. I had to say something. I knew that, but what I didn't know was how to begin. I knew nothing about having a honest face-to-face discussion with someone about the things we were thinking and feeling. But that didn't change anything. I had to do it. Even if down that road lay truth I would be happier not seeing. Giselle, could you please tell me what you did what was done to you at my family home? How you ended up coming to this mansion, and what happened after you left? I would like to know everything from start to finish. Will you believe what I tell you? You never so much as gave me the time of day before. I very much doubt you will find what I have to say agreeable. Will you still believe me even then? Believe my word, a stranger's word, over your family or the people of the village? I cannot yet say. I must hear what you have to say to make that decision. I suppose that might be better than you saying you'll believe me unconditionally. Alright, I'll tell you everything. Just know that nothing I say is a lie. Understood. Giselle methodically recounted her tale for me. She told me of how she accepted an offer from the Bollinger to work as an Abigail to earn money for her family. Of how my father, Antonin, had other plans for her. Of all of the things he did to her. She spoke dryly, simply putting words to each event, one after the other. I had already seen how she felt deep down, though. I had heard her pained screams, which were undoubtedly genuine. I didn't think she was trying to deceive me. That was the sound of all wounds being torn open, and even I could see that. Or perhaps my own experiences were what allowed me to see it. Regardless, I had realized too late. I should have seen it sooner. She described it all mechanically to remain detached from what had happened to her, to protect herself. Of that I had no doubts. Still, the things she told me were almost unbearable, and I had a difficult time accepting them. What was I supposed to do? When I learned my father was a rapist, how was I supposed to react to that revelation? What was I supposed to think about the fact that his blood flowed through me? I repulsed myself. Do you want all the details? What do you mean? Of the wounds he gave me. I still have scars from the thing he did. If you don't believe me, I can show them to you. No, that won't be necessary. I see. That's a relief. I don't think I could have handled that right now. I hadn't turned down her offer for her sake. I only did so because I didn't think I could take any more. I averted my eyes to protect myself. Why had I taken my mother's word? Brushing aside everything Giselle had said and done, I knew good and well my mother was no longer in her right mind. So why had I thought her letter the truth? Why had I been unable to think rationally? There were, I believe, several factors. My childhood, my past, and the witch's whispers. And above all, my own character, consumed with distrust for everything. I had to face it now. To open my eyes once more to look at everything I'd pretended away until now. I was not completely blameless for her suffering after all. Please continue if you will. I left off at the point where the mistress discovered what happening, I believe. I was sent to this mansion to atone for my sins. Sins that she didn't even commit. It was decided I would be sent here rather than being executed, which is what the mistress wanted. At first, I assumed it would be essentially a private prison. But in the carriage on the way here, I was given a letter. A letter? From whom? It didn't say, but your father was the one who ordered me here, so I guess it was from him. It was him. The letter was very concise, simply explaining that there was someone already there. The Bollinger youngest child. It didn't go into any more detail than that. But it did ask me to look after you. Do you still have the letter? I don't. The coachman took it back after I was finished. Thinking back on it now, that was rather strange of him to do. It was just a harmless letter. It was anything but. What? It wasn't my father who wrote that letter. He believes me to be dead, so he would have sincerely thought he was banishing you to an empty house in a remote forest. The writer couldn't risk leaving anything that might suggest I was still alive. Then who? My brother, I believe. Either Didier or George's. But I would guess Didier. Your brother? Why would he? I do not know. I can't imagine why he would write such a letter, or why he would want to tell you about me. I don't believe he had any ill intention, at least. I mean, he asked me to look after you. That makes it sound like he's concerned about you. Then why doesn't he stay in contact? Why does he never respond to my letters? It's a bit late to suddenly start being concerned. No, never mind that now. Please tell me the rest. Alright. Giselle resumed her story from the day she had fled the mansion, terrified by my behavior. She seemed to be putting a bit more emotion in the tone of voice now, perhaps because she could see I was more interested in this part. There was a deep sadness on her face when she described that night in the rain, listening to the thunder when she gave up on living, and I knew I had caused it. She then told me of the time she spent in the nearby village, how at first life seems wonderful, but in time she had come crumbling down. Naturally, she wouldn't be here to tell me this if nothing had happened there. Once she was through with her tale, Giselle let out a long, heavy sigh, as though she had been holding in it for some time. I doubt I could hear just a faint trembling in the air, she exhaled. That is everything. Do you believe me? If you don't, if you still think I'm deceiving you, then I won't argue with you. That's fine. If that's the case, please just kill me. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? I know I wasn't very open to anything you said, but if, that day, when I found you in my room, you had told me I was mistaken, that the sin belonged to my father, it might not have turned out like this. The knife. What? You were holding a knife. I can't handle blades anymore. Ever since what happened, they scare me to death. Just the sight of one in someone's hand, and I start to think they're going to use it on me. I can't help it. I start shaking uncontrollably, growing faint of breath. The world goes white. I can't even form words. There's nothing I can do. Now I finally see. She was grimacing in pain. The day the package arrived, when you knocked my hand away. Because I was scared. Because it reminded me of that time. I had assumed she was simply jumpy from guilty conscience. I felt nauseous realizing I had been pouring a constant stream of salt onto her unmendable wound. What a damn fool I was. Why did you get so upset at me? Why did you have to point a knife at me? I didn't want you snooping. If you meant to sell information about me, I thought I had to do anything in my power to stop you. I'm still not convinced it was necessary. I was unarmed, I couldn't fight back, you needed a knife. I have nothing left anymore, so I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. You're a jerk. What you did was inexcusable. You may not have hurt me physically, but you still hurt me. Humans are frail creatures, they wound easily. Apologize. Apologize. What? Apologize to me. I said apologize. I'm sorry. Again. Put your heart into it. Convince me you mean it. I'm sorry. Again. Once more, get down on knees and shout it from your gut. I'm so very sorry. Ah. Was that a laugh? Geez, you're such a strange man. Strange. You told me to do it. Nothing going like I thought it would. I figured even if we talked, you would just deny everything I said. I didn't think you'll actually listen to me. But you did. You listened, and you looked quite distressed by what you heard. I looked distressed? Oh yes, you sure did. I wish I had a mirror to show you. I'm sure you didn't want to believe what I said, but you didn't once accuse me of lying. You faced up to the truth and you apologized. I seem to have had the wrong impression of you as well. I didn't try to see you for who you were, instead of letting myself believe you were someone to be afraid of. To be honest, I didn't like you very much. The feeling was mutual. But for some reason, I don't feel that way now. Is it guilt? I need to apologize to you too. Apologize for what? I led the villagers here. I almost sold my soul to the devil. I tried to sell you out to save myself. And for that, I'm truly sorry. I don't understand. What? Do I need to get down on my knees too? No, that's not what I meant. The blame falls on the village for falsely accusing you of stealing. You were a convenient scapegoat for the real thieves. They planned to take advantage of you from the start. That Amid was probably in on it as well. To get back at you for rejecting his proposal. Plus, giving the village a single target to let out the frustration on would in a way help unify them. He used you to meet that end. In order to escape from their trap, you told them about me. But this was after I had threatened you, causing you to flee from this place. You have nothing to apologize for. Still, I still feel really bad about it. So, I'm sorry anyway. You're unacceptably stubborn. But now that we both apologize to each other, we can call everything square. Square? Square. We were both in the wrong, so we apologized and we forgave each other. She gave a little smile, but all I could do was stare at her, brow furrowed in perplexity, like I was looking at some bizarre fantasyland creature. The weight of our crimes was not equal. What I'd done to her was so much very worse. Furthermore, I am Antonin's son. His blood flows through me. Can you honestly say you don't find me revolting? That you're willing to forgive me for that? I didn't think I would be able to. If I were her, my grudge would extend to all my family, everyone I'd ever come in contact with. I can. Although you don't need forgiveness for being his son, being related to someone doesn't make you responsible for their sins. It wouldn't be fair to blame you for that. You're curious. What? Curious? About what? No, not that curious. You're a strange creature. I'm human, you know. Yes, I know you're human. You're making me lightheaded. It is a medical emergency? That's quite the leap in logic. You know, I was at my lowest just a little bit ago, and now I'm laughing again. It's odd. I never expected I would recover at all. I was just as surprised as her. She had been through hell, and she had more than enough reasons to despise me, to shower me with the vitriol, but instead, she was smiling. And even more unexpected was the fact that I felt relieved to see it. And that will be all for today's video, which was, by the way, number 13. It wasn't the final part. I don't think it was even close. For some reason, I thought the story was about to wrap up. But you know what? I actually glad it continued because I just love it so much and it's really, really good. And I cannot wait to see how this continues because right now we're at the point where they finally get to speak with each other and understand each other. And I'm really, really stoked to see where this is going. Surely this will have a happy ending. I'm sure of it. Kick. But yeah, that will be all for now. So if you feel like watching more of these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel because there's a lot more coming soon. But that's all for now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.